I'm Jim Kunkel, and welcome to CoatingsTalk. Today's episode is going to be on industrial coating applicator training, specifically Train the Painter. And joining me today is Lucy Pavia, who's the commercial director of Corrodere Academy. Lucy, welcome.
Welcome to you too. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. Can you do a favor for those watching this episode? If you could give a background on yourself and then also talk a little bit about Corridor Academy and what the Academy does.
Yeah, sure. So the Corridor Academy was established maybe 15 years ago. I joined the company 12 years ago. At the time, we were running just one online inspection training course. And then over the last 12 years, the company's developed. We're now running a full portfolio of protective coatings training courses, right the way through from the basic application training, which is train the painter, all the way up through a full scope of inspection courses, right the way through to specialist courses. And we've grown from strength to strength over that time. So it's been really exciting.
That's great. And you, as a commercial director, what's your role within the organization?
Well, my role has evolved. So, when we first started out, it was literally just me and one other. And then we were working with our technical expert. So where we started out, like I say, it was just a very small team, but the team's grown and grown. So now we have 3 salespeople, we've got an operations manager, and my role really is to grow the business and to develop the business globally. So it's been a really interesting journey.
It has been, and you and we've crossed our paths have crossed multiple times, and different events and conferences and things like that. So I definitely know that you're out there globally, really doing good deeds out there for not only Corridor Academy, but also too for the global protective coatings industry, because this industry that we work in, we've got a challenge out there right now, and it comes down to qualified and skilled craft workers, both on the surface preparation and application side of the business. But before we get into our conversation, I wanted to do a shout out that I've created an affiliate account with coffeebrandcoffee.com. You can save 5% off your next order of premium coffee, tea, and more by using a discount code when you do your checkout of CoatingsTalk. Again, that discount code is CoatingsTalk, and you will receive 5% off and help this broadcast, my content, my live streams, and all the other kind of good things that I do for not only the protective coatings industry, but for the corrosion industry as well. So now I got that out of the way, Lucy, let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the challenge right now. And this is a global challenge. I'm here in the States, you're in the UK, but this is everywhere. And it's the hard part of this is really trying to find industrial, painting craft workers. And there's a high demand right now related to skilled and qualified craft workers. There's a huge shortage out there. And a lot of it is a result of the aging of the industry and the retirement of the current workforce, because our industry on the applicator and the surface preparation side, it's hard. It's not an easy job. You're literally, when you're blasting a bridge or you're blasting a structure, you've got a spacesuit on. Yeah, it's air conditioned. You got a communication systems. You got all the safety, but you're talking about wearing some pretty heavy equipment, and you're also holding a hose that is propelling out at high velocity, abrasives, and other things that are happening. So it takes a toll on the body, and the workforce. Here in the States, and I'm sure you have it in the UK, we do see not only it being men, but also women being involved in industrial painting. But as a result of this being such hard labor, that it does take a toll on it. Now, this industry also, when you're looking at the industrial applicator and the surface preparation side, it pays very well. You can go literally right out of a high school or, go out of school and start into an apprenticeship program and really earn a family sustainable wage. You might do that for, maybe you're working as an applicator for a number of years, and then you start to branch off and you look at, okay, I want to get into quality control. I want to get into inspection. I want to get into, maybe I want to run my own company. So there's so many pathways that can happen from just that first initial step of becoming, let's say, an apprentice on it. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and right now the average salary of an industrial painter in Pennsylvania, and this is starting wages, is $45,000 a year. So you can go right out of, like I say, out of high school. You don't have to incur all the college debts and everything like that, and have a great earning opportunity for you. Now, some of the methods that are typically employed when it comes to apprenticeships or training people for these roles is on-the-job training. That's really where you get a lot of your experience. There are also apprenticeship programs through different trade unions and things like that. There's industry associations that also have training methods. And, specifically, I am Legacy SSPC, and then I worked for AMP for about 2 years roughly. But there is a lot of global industries out there that do it. And then one important program that, I became aware of in, can't remember if it was 2015 or 2016. It might have been earlier than that. And SSPC, at one point had involvement in it, was Train the Painter. Why is Train the Painter? And we're going to talk about Train the Painter next, but why is Train the Painter such an important aspect of dealing with this industrial painting craftworker challenge? Why is it so important?
Yeah, I mean, Train the Painter was developed 7-8 years ago, and I really feel it's because there just was nothing out there to support this new talent coming into the industry. But in fact, there wasn't even anything out there for those that have been in the industry for many years. And interestingly enough, we have people attend our Train the Painter course that have been in the industry doing the job for 15, 20 years sometimes. And they say, why have I got to go on this course? And they always come away saying, wow, there was so much on that course that I just didn't know about. And never have anyone come away saying, well, I knew all of that, so why, that was a complete waste of my time. So yeah, I think we felt that certainly in the UK there was a requirement for some formal training, and it was driven by the industry. Just because I think, the likes of the Highways Agency, Network Rail in the UK said we just need a minimum standard of training. So that's where the program evolved from, and it's just grown from strength to strength from there. And so our training program, it covers 3 core areas of protective coatings application, so brush application, spray painting, and abrasive glass cleaning. And we will train completely new people to the industry, brand new talent, or we will train people with experience. And we just want to make sure that these people will go back out into the industry with a really broad, comprehensive understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, rather than just being told, like you say, go out on site, paint that structure, not really understanding the kind of the mechanics around why they're doing it and the right way to do it and how to do it safely, which is probably one of the most important things. So that's where we started. I don't know whether you want me to continue kind of going into more detail about Train the Painter, or if you...
Well, what I'm going to talk about next is that for me, when I was at Legacy SSPC, I also, for the organization, covered Central and South America. And at that particular time, you started to see Train the Painter being introduced in such countries as Panama and other places. And my experience with Train the Painter as a global training methodology is that it really provided a consistent platform that was updated, and I would say more like state of the art. It covered, not only the practical side, but also to the equipment side, the safety side, the standards, the consistency that you need for quality control. And
Mm-hmm.
what I've experienced in just in international travel, for me, again, limited on my side of the globe here, was that when I saw Train a Painter applied in countries such as Panama, most of the training that goes on in some of the foreign markets is kind of what we would call an imperial training, where you have the older craft worker training the younger craft workers. And the thing is, if their technique, their skills, their knowledge is still not quite 100% to industry current best practices, what they're doing is they're educating, and then also the experience of that younger blaster, that younger painter, is going to be based off of that legacy education they're getting. And I've seen situations where train a painter had been brought in, people were trained, they went through, they earned their cards, and then the owners of those organizations, those companies, seen improvement, reduction in cost related to spent abrasives, right?
That's
Um,
right.
Paint that's applied more properly, quality control issues drop. And again, there's no silver bullet. You're never going to have the like 100% perfect job that's done. There's always, but if you reduce by 25, 50%, 75% issues and problems or expenses, that's going to be better for not only the contractor, the shop, but importantly, the owner. The owner's going to be, in most cases, get their project done relatively in a reasonable time, and it's going to be staying within the least amount of issues with quality issues or um, work orders that have to be added in for overages and things like that. Now, you had mentioned about the different modules,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to kind of spell them out here. You've got coating applicator, spray painting, abrasive blasting, intumescent applicator, which is going to be for your fire protection,
Mm-hmm.
thermal spray applicator, which is, again, something that's very unique in the coatings industry. Water jetting, which is used in a lot. You have water cleaning, you have water jetting, you have water abrasives, so wet abrasives. So you have a lot of that related to surface preparation. Marine coating applicator, and then the important thing is coating supervisor. And with these modules, you're earning, as you achieve that status, you are earning a card from Train the Painter. Now, in addition to that, if the candidate wants to do other external certifications through AMP or some other organization, they have that opportunity to kind of leverage that, Train a Painter, and it really does super prepare them for when they go for their certifications and do their practicals and everything like that. But the important thing, I think, for a craft worker when they have that card is now, if depending on where they're at, they have that opportunity to really go for a higher caliber job with a contractor, a shop, and then we go back to that family sustainable wages where you're talking about earning more money and things like that. Or they have that opportunity to branch off and to get into inspection, or maybe they become a contractor and own their own business and things like that. When you, and this is going to be related to students that you encounter, and I'm sure you have this,
Mm-hmm.
how excited are they when they achieve those cards?
I know. Think they really are. I feel like it's the one industry where, if you look at plumbing or electrical installation or any of these other trades, there's a really kind of clear defined training route for them, and an apprenticeship program, and then they achieve a qualification at the end. And I feel like when it comes to the industrial coating industry, there's not really been that kind of that clear direction for those guys to train and achieve a qualification at the end of it. So I think it just makes them feel like, when their company invest in training and they can actually see something that they've achieved at the end of it, I think it makes them feel like a valid member of the team. So yeah, they feel really, really grateful, and yeah, they're pretty pleased themselves.
Yeah, and the thing for the benefit for a contractor or a shop is with a train the painter, it's updated. Again, it's always reviewed and things like that. It's a way for them to purchase this, to put this in, and it's not a one time buy. I always kind of look at it as you're paying for like a subscription, and you have access to this information that's updated. There's all types of aids that come with it to um, help educate, train, and things like that. The cool thing about it for a contractor or a shop is that they can say, listen, I'll put together my own training program. Well, that does take time and that does take money, probably a lot more than subscribing or going through Train the Painter. But the thing is, how often is it being reviewed? How often is it being, kind of updated for best practices? And the thing with it is, your organization, you have an accreditation to be able to offer these things, so you're being audited, and so that's
Absolutely.
important. So
Hmm.
for a contractor or shop, this makes sense to integrate this within their training program, and it's a global program, so that it benefits them. So it has consistency, it's updated, and I think it's a better investment than, oh, I'll just do my own training program. Because if you could increase efficiencies, you can have a more educated and qualified, and then potentially be able to get certified if they need to be to do certain type of project work. That's going to put money in your pocket if you're able to kind of utilize a train a painter program. Now, let me ask you a question regarding becoming an approved trainer.
Mm.
How do you become an approved trainer? What's that process? And you don't have to go into finite detail, but just kind of an overview of what it takes to become an approved trainer.
Well, we deliver a 2-day train the trainer course. We're delivering that through Zoom now because obviously being a global training
Yeah.
program, we have trainers from all over the world. The prerequisites are that the individual has to have a minimum of 5 years of industry experience, or a level 2 inspection certificate. So we're not training that trainer to apply paint or to spray or blast because they have to already have that experience. We're training them to be an effective trainer, to how to deliver the material well, how to overcome obstacles. So it's a very simple process. It's more making sure we've got the right guys that are comfortable training as well. So that's the minimum requirement.
Okay. And then I think the other thing too related to train the painter that's really important is the owner buy-in. That they look at the program and they say we need to have this. So when it comes to global recognition, what are some of the companies that you can publicly say require train the painter or recognize train the painter?
Yeah, I mentioned them earlier. So, I mean, in the UK, all of the large organisations like Network Rail and the Highways Agency that oversee all the contracts for the rail and road network in the UK specify Train the Painter. So, also the MOD and many of the offshore companies that we work with that operate globally, they also recognise Train the Painter. We're working down in Australia. They have a Cert 3 program down there, which is government funded, and Train the Painter is the prerequisite to then attending the Cert 3 program. So, yeah, we're noticing a lot of interest from the mining industry. There's pipelines running through Africa where they're now specifying Train the Painter. So yeah, it's growing very rapidly. The interest and the specifications are, suddenly hearing that Train the Painter's popped up in a specification in, I don't know where the last place was, maybe New Zealand. So it's exciting times. I think they're just seeing the benefits of a formal training program.
And then the other thing, it's offered in how many languages is it now offered in?
I'm going to say 12, but we are constantly working on it. So yeah, it's in all of the main languages, but we're always open to translating into other languages if there's a demand.
Yeah, for example, here in North America, we would encounter English, um, Portuguese, and
Yep.
Spanish. So, typically
Cool.
those are going to
Tick all
be
those
for,
boxes. Yeah.
yep. And so, those are important. But the thing they'll look at this program that is in multiple languages, and that really is a huge benefit, depending on what type of workforce you have coming, either in your own country or continent. And then the other thing is also too what workforces may be coming in that might be being brought in to do work from other countries as well. Now, I want to also mention before we end the broadcast here is that there are other programs that are offered by Corrodere Academy. One is a coatings, and I'll have you talk about maybe a couple of these. But the first is a coatings inspector program. You have a corrosion under insulation, coatings for corrosion control, coating surveys, and corrosion management. So you do have a good mix of both the practical side, but then also getting into the inspector side. And then if someone's looking to get into being more associated with the program management for their company, there are bases that are definitely covered here in corrosion and coating side. For Corrodere, of those, you're offering them both virtually and then in class as well. Can you talk a little bit? Let's talk about the coatings inspector, because if I'm an applicator, I'm a blaster, as I start to age in the industry, I'm going to want to probably either go into quality control or go in inspection. It seems like a ton of people that I encounter want to become an inspector, which is, again, still another high demand area as well. Can you talk a little bit about the coating inspector program that's offered through Corrodere Academy?
Yeah, our inspection program is actually available online, so anybody can study the course from anywhere around the world. And as you mentioned earlier, it's also translated into multiple languages. So the students are asked to work their way through a number of lessons that's supported with videos and animations. There are multiple choice questions throughout the training. And then once they've completed the online training, we'll then invite them to a final exam, which we now offer online through a proctored program. So we can, as long as they've got a webcam and a microphone, we can view and observe them taking their exams, so they can complete the whole course from the comfort of their own home. And then we issue the I-Core inspection certificates, levels 1, 2, and 3, and further accredited supplementary inspection certificates as well. So they're all courses are delivered online. We can offer, bespoke classroom-based training if it's required. It wasn't that long ago we were in Singapore offering a bespoke training program face to face. So yeah, we can offer really any sort of specialist type training if required.
Oh, very good, very good. Lucy, what an awesome conversation we've had. Is there anything that we did not talk about that you would want to leave with the viewers?
I think there was one thing when we were talking about Train the Painter was how the course has evolved now so that the training is also available online. So I feel like some companies, they want to invest in training for their staff, but they can't give them up for 5 days and send them off to a training facility. But what they can do is offer them the theoretical training to study online in their own time. Obviously, the practical has to be delivered face to face. But I feel like the course has got such a level of flexibility and it's been translated into so many languages that there really is, that there's a solution for all. So I think, there's always reasons why companies don't feel that they can invest in training because, whether it be cost, whether it be time, but I feel like we've got that solution now for the applicators. We've also introduced some apps that support the training. So for our trainees, if they want to, once they've been through the course, they can go out on site, they can log the experience that they are acquiring. And all of that good information and all that experience feeds straight back into the training platform. We've tried to make all of our training completely paperless, so everything happens through our platforms, which the trainers love, the students love. They can study on their tablets, on their phones. So I feel like we're kind of moving with, with the times, and which has helped us, like I say, to grow globally. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because it's really important, because that's really changed people's attitudes towards our training, just to understand the flexibility
Yeah.
and the affordability of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the thing too, you travel globally and you look at workforce out there, everyone has a mobile phone. It doesn't matter what stage of life you are.
Yeah.
Today in 2023, pretty much everybody has a mobile phone, no matter where you are in the world today. So
Hmm.
that's a good point on that as well.
Yeah.
Lucy, how can people get more information about not only Train the Painter but other programs you offer, and also Corrodere Academy? How can they get more information on the academy?
Yeah, we've got a website, corrodere.com. And everything's on there. In fact, you can actually enroll directly through our website now, and pay through the website. So and upload all of the supporting documents, and it's really simple. So yeah, and we're on LinkedIn and through social media platforms. So yeah, feel free to get in touch. We've got a friendly team that are always happy to help, and or pick the phone up and give us a ring.
Oh, very good, very good. So everyone, please definitely check out Corrodere Academy, and if you can, make sure you follow Lucy on LinkedIn, and I'm sure you're on other social platforms as well. The same thing with Corrodere Academy. Check
Hmm.
them out on other social media and things like that as well. Lucy, thank you so much for this opportunity to have a great conversation with you on Train the Painter, and
Thank
the
you.
other good things that Corrodere Academy does as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a
All right.
pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries at all. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and you. Take care.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to wrap up this episode. So make sure you do check out additional content. Give us a like and a share to other colleagues, and make sure that you do become a subscriber to the CoatingsTalk YouTube channel. And if you have an opportunity, go to coffeebrandcoffee.com. And again, use the discount code of CoatingsTalk when you do your checkout. Thank you very much.